What up? What's good, y'all? Brandon B, Elite Media. We back with another one, man. Elite live streams. How you guys doing out there today? We back and we here, man. Appreciate everybody who's been showing love over these last couple of days, man. The weekend was super busy. We were basically streaming all weekend. The videos are out right now on the live Instagram, on the YouTube. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that like button, all those great things. So today we're going to be talking about a very serious topic, and there's a lot of really dark energy surrounding not only this topic, but surrounding, just a lot of things that are happening right now over the last couple of days, over the last couple of months, pretty much this entire year. There's a lot going on. So I wanted to make sure that we start this live off the right way, making sure we're paying our condolences to the right people. And then at the same time, we're also going to cover this live stream with nothing but good vibes and good energy. So to get this live started, first, I want to send my condolences to the family of Trey Reed, the Delta State student who was found unalived on campus. Very, very sad, tragic story. And from my perspective, I want to make this clear that this was a very, very sad situation and that a lot of people's lives are affected by this. So when we speak on these topics, when we're talking about this, we still have to understand this is the real world. These are real people. This is not just content. So I want to make sure that I repeat, my condolences go out to the family of Trey Reed and everyone who is supporting him, because this was a very, very sad scenario. And I wanted to make sure that we paid our condolences right off the gate, right? So now we got to cover this, right? So I wanted to start with something, a little bit different, right? We're going to do it a little bit different today. So we're going to start this off with the Bible verse that I came across that really just kind of encapsulates the journey we're about to be going on today and just kind of everything that's been happening over these last couple of years. So this one is 2 Corinthians 11:14. And the verse states, "And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light." All right. Once again, this is 2 Corinthians 11:14. It states, "And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light." So I'm pretty sure you're wondering what that means, right? So I'm going to do a little deep dive for you with the help of Google AI, right? So the context, right? This verse is found within a section of Paul's letter to the church of the Corinthians, where he is defending his apostleship against false teachers who he sarcastically calls super apostles. These false apostles have infiltrated the church and were deceiving the believers with different gospels and a different spirit. Now that I gave you guys a little context on that verse, doesn't that just feel a little bit more poetic? Let me repeat. This verse is found within a section of Paul's letter to the church of the Corinthians, where he is defending his apostleship against false teachers who he sarcastically calls super apostles. These false apostles have infiltrated the church and were deceiving the believers with a different gospel and a different spirit. Okay, guys? So listen to me when I tell you this. There is a lot of false news, a lot of false prophets, a lot of people on the internet who have been manipulated, who have been compromised, and who are completely doing the people a disservice by not giving them the truth. And it has now been proven through what? Different factions. Now we see, oh, Donald Trump shuts down the Tonight Show. Donald Trump does this to the news. Certain news outlets are being taken away. You guys are surprised? How are you surprised? False prophets are among us, and they've been among us for a long time. And I'm tired of everyone acting like they're so oblivious, like they don't know what's going on. Enough. It's time to wake up. You can't be asleep anymore. You can't hide behind your little party systems and whatever else is going on. They are controlling everything. The media is controlled and manipulated. Okay, the money, the system that we are all up under, how we work, how we earn, it is all controlled, guys. And so it's always funny to me, when people tell me about, spirituality and what it means to who we are today and how we've become who we are today. And I always say, man, you guys read, but you don't comprehend. And that's my thing. It's like, if we're going to sit up here and we're going to act like we know what's going on, then let's act like we know what's going on. And you guys got a lot to say, don't you? When it's already been written. It has already been written. And that's why I had to start this with the verse from Corinthians. Because at the end of the day, you guys are acting so oblivious, like you don't know what's going on. And it's already been written. All right? False prophets are among us. They have infiltrated the church and they are deceiving the believers of the gospel, the truth seekers, the people who are speaking the truth. They are among us. They are among us, truth seekers and the truth speakers, to divert you guys from the truth. Stop being easily manipulated. Just because someone may have more followers or just because someone may be a part of some huge conglomerate, you don't think that money is going to manipulate said person. If you don't think that that money will not manipulate their perspective, then you are living in a construct just like everybody else. We go over here, we watch The Matrix, we talk about Neo, and we talk about the red pill and the blue pill, and everybody is still asleep. All right? So, without further ado, since I got that off my chest, right? Let's get into the real story here, okay? Let's get into it, guys, because I think it's time to actually jump into this story now. I cooked for a little bit so you guys can understand the context and where I'm coming from. Now we can get into the story because I mean this from the bottom of my heart. This is a very triggering story. So if you guys are not ready to go down this rabbit hole with me, you might want to hop off the ship because it's about to get crazy and it's going to get really weird and it's going to get really dark. And that's why I had to start off this stream with a covering of not only paying our condolences to the family, but as well making sure that we are covered in God, because there's a lot of dark energy out in the world right now. And it is surrounding all of us in this country. And if we are not covering ourselves and being coherent of it and being super, super understanding that this part is a part of the war that we're dealing with, this spiritual war, then you will be consumed by it. And I will not be consumed by any dark energy because I am a vessel of the Lord. I was sent here by God to do this. So ain't nobody going to stop my message or what I have to say, because that's what I was put on here to do. All right. A lot of people talk about finding your purpose and what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to go about things and the way you're supposed to carry yourself. I found my purpose. And my purpose is to spread the truth through elite media and being able to contact and connect with as many people in the masses who feel like I feel, who are tired of what's going on in this world, who are tired of what we see every single day, who are tired of being lied to. All right. That's what we're doing here on Elite Media. We're spreading the truth, and we're going to do it regardless of what anybody has to say. All right. So let's start it off at the beginning, right? Who is Trey and what happened at Delta State University. Let's start there, right? What happened, guys? Because there's a lot, and the history, right? The history of Mississippi and the lynching culture of Mississippi, right? Over 500, I repeat, over 500 documented lynchings have happened in Mississippi. And those are documented. We're not talking about the ones off the record, guys. All right, because that could go into the thousands. We don't know. We don't know what happened at the very early stages of when these things weren't, accounted for. So there's a history already, right? There's a history already down in the Delta of what happens down there. Okay. So with that already, let's start it out by seeing what is going on, right? What happened, guys? Let's see here. This is ABC News, guys. This is ABC News. This is going mainstream, all right?
Family in Mississippi is now begging for answers after their 21-year-old was found dead hanging from a tree at Delta State University. Campus police say the body of 21-year-old Trey Reed, a Black student, was discovered by staff members on Monday morning. Authorities quickly ruling out foul play, and during a press conference today, the university president insisting that race relations are not an issue at the university.
All right. So pay attention to that, right? Right out of the gate, they've already ruled no foul play. Not even a full investigation. This happened literally on Monday. Okay? Sunday night, this occurred, and then Monday morning, they found the body, and then on Monday, they said, oh, no foul play. Now, you cannot tell me off the bat that the investigation, there's no foul play right off the gate if there has not been enough time to investigate what happened. You guys are that good at what you do to know exactly within, a couple hours of discovering the body that there was no foul play. Now, understand, this is a part of the mentality, right? The media manipulation, right? Going out of their way to make sure that they immediately let people know, hey, this is not racial, okay? With a history, all right? With a history of L words in Mississippi, okay? They have a history of this there, all right? So when we talk about the history of lynchings in Mississippi, it's something that I think people really don't understand and don't comprehend, right? So there's certain things that I think when it comes to these things, because we're so far away from this, okay, that there is no way that anyone can understand. So let's bring this up for you guys, just so I can add a little bit more context to this, okay? So we can go ahead and make sure that we stay on the facts, right? Because here at Elite Media, like I said, we bring the receipts. We don't just talk. All right, we're going to bring receipts every single time. So if anybody got anything to say, it's always going to be referenced. All right, so check this out right here. This is from Mississippi Civil Rights Museum.gov. All right, so this is the government's website for this. All right. So from 1877 to 1950, Mississippi ranked first in nearly every category for most lynchings, most multiple lynchings, and most per capita. Most female victims, most victims taken from police custody, most lynchings without an arrest or conviction or mob leaders, and most public support for vigilantism. Okay. I will repeat this so that you guys can go ahead and let this sink in while we're comprehending the information, right? From 1877 to 1950, all right? So this is only just from this window, guys. We have not even accounted for the next 100 years, right? Pretty much. So let's say from 1877 to 1950, Mississippi ranked first in nearly every category of most lynchings, most multiple lynchings, most per capita, most female victims, most victims taken from police custody, most lynchings without arrest or convictions of mob leaders, and most public support for vigilantism. This is not just us up here talking. This is factual. It is in the history of this state and what they do to people. So one thing is for sure, right? There is a history of these type of situations happening all the way back to 1877, since Black Americans were put on boats in Africa and brought all the way over here. That's a long time, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot of death. It's a lot of blood. That's a lot of very, very carnage, disgusting, vile things. Vile. Okay. So look, with a history of this, how are we going to immediately say that this is just no foul play, guys? Help me understand. You guys can leave it in the chat, leave it in the comments. Let me know, how can we already immediately rule this out? If there is a history, like I said, since 1877, a history of this happening, a known history of this happening, and we're going to sit back and just say, oh no, this is not what's going on, this didn't happen, right? We're going to immediately rule out that there's no foul play. What? How? Help me understand how. Because at the end of the day, if there is a history of someone being a convicted felon, right? If someone is a thief and something goes stolen, and we're all in the room together and the thief is right there, who do you think they're going to look at? The thief, right? Because what? Because he has a history of being a thief, of stealing. He has a history of that. So if someone has a history of doing said things to said people on a large scale, a very long, open history of this, how are we not going to take that into account? Help me understand that, guys, because I need to know. So let's continue. This is ABC News, guys.
I can say that my heartbreak is comprehensive, not just for Trey, although it is primarily for Trey, but for the fact that the rest of the world has an impression of Delta State that is so at odds with what I know to be this institution. This institution should not be associated with hate or hate crimes.
All right. He says this institution should not be associated with hate or hate crimes. Family, this is why history is so important. And this is as well why they're doing overtime to change history and to wipe history away from what's going on, and how, they can manipulate and change, right, the story, because he who writes history controls history, right? We've all heard that saying before, right? So I'll repeat it for you guys. He who writes history controls history. So if that's the case, you can't tell me that there isn't an incentive for this guy who is the representative of Delta State University to go up here and cap and just straight up lie and say there is no history of this, when you are in a state, the number one state of said things happening to people. Like I read to you guys earlier, the stat, they are number one since 1877 in lynchings. Number one, no one else. Nothing gets bigger than the Delta in Mississippi, y'all. So don't be fooled by the double talk, because that's what's happening right here. This is double talk. This is talking out the side of your neck when we know the history, right? Look at this guy. Don't he look like somebody who's stressed out? Yeah, because he know what's going on.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, now representing Reed's family, demanding more transparency. The family saying we cannot accept vague conclusions when so many questions remain. Let's bring in our Ike Ajachi. So, Ike, what are we learning from police today? And are they still continuing to rule out foul play?
Crazy, man.
Yeah, Kira, several different agencies surrounding this investigation are saying just that. The Delta State University police chief, he's come out and said that there is no indication of foul play surrounding this incident. He also said that there is no ongoing threat to staff or faculty.
All right, guys. So this is where now we can start to really deep dive in here, right? Remember the whole Charlie Kirk thing, right? Remember that? That just happened a couple of days ago, whatever. Remember there was a threat on universities? I don't understand how people can come on here and just completely be oblivious to things that they've said a couple days prior. There was just articles, there was just news stories about how HBCUs had to shut down because they were getting imminent threats. Imminent threats. Okay, people were looking to do something. People were looking to cause trouble at said HBCUs. So to say and act like this is not what's happening is crazy, because it is exactly what happened. There is imminent threats, and everyone should be aware, and they should be alert. If you have a black child who is at Delta State University, you definitely need to be concerned. Do not take the bait, making them think that everything's all good, because it's not. And if you let your guard down, you will also fall victim to whatever could happen. Straight up.
Now, if you also look at what the Bolivar County Coroner's Office is saying, it's also falling in line with that. They're saying through a preliminary examination that there are no injuries to 21-year-old Trey Reed's body that are consistent to a physical attack. So that they said that there are no lacerations, no bruises, no broken bones, anything that would look like there was a physical attack to his body. Now, the Coroner's Office is saying that they are investigating this as a suicide, and they're also saying that the full autopsy is currently being done by the Mississippi State Crime Lab.
All right, so they're saying that this would be, considered a unaliving of himself, but I find that to be extremely ridiculous. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't understand, as a Black American, why anyone would want to unalive themselves in this capacity. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. There were stories that were coming out after this immediately happened about him having limbs that weren't in place. We'll just say that, right? And that this was kind of what was going on. And so from my perspective, nothing is out the window until we know the exact facts. And so Ben Crump has been hired on for the family to do his own separate investigation. I don't necessarily particularly know too much about what he could bring to the table, because I think Ben Crump sometimes can be a little bit more too, what's the word, not as bulldog as he should be in certain capacities. And I don't necessarily know what he's going to do. I feel like this will be another one of those stories that, will go right away if we don't continue to talk about it. And that's why I think you've been seeing the shift from, one story to the next, but this one is a very, very serious story. And I think everyone needs to talk about this, because Mississippi is a real place. And it is not somewhere that anyone, in my opinion, should be messing around or take anything lightly like this that would happen in that state, because this is really, like I said, they have a history of this since 1877.
And that'll be finished in about 24 to 48 hours, Kira.
So what is the family saying? Are they thinking it's a suicide?
Well, Kira, the family of Trey Reed right now, they are expressing deep frustration, and they are demanding transparency surrounding.
So look, the word transparency, right? That takes a big precedent as quickly as it goes under. But that's the point. The family is speaking and saying that they have not heard from the dean of the school. They have not heard anything direct from the police department. There's been a lot of very, very, very sketchy behavior from the people that they feel like they should be hearing from right out of the gate. And so that's where we have to start to pivot and start to think, okay, well, if that's what they're experiencing, then what is going on? Why are they not speaking to them? Why have they not heard from them, right? Why are they the family still feeling some type of way about what's happened, you know? And so now you have content creators who have come out and they're speaking on it, right? Because like I said, black media controls the algorithm. What we talk about is the trending topic. So right now, a lot of black folks are talking about this, as they should, right? You know what I'm saying? And so now, I wanted to bring up this second perspectives because, like I said, we're going down a rabbit hole today, and we're just going to talk about it, man, because this is some real stuff. So
really,
let's hear this one.
I can't speak to her no more.
A tight-knit community trying to piece together the unthinkable.
It's an ongoing investigation.
Trey Reed just started college at Delta State University, a freshman.
His body was discovered hanging from a tree.
No black person is climbing up no tree, putting no rope around their neck and hanging themselves.
The people are not buying it.
Black people are being lynched.
The Shade Room is on it. We're looking at the campus and their security systems and what we found when we took a closer look at what's around those pickleball courts where his body was found.
I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates. But before we get into it, roommates, for more TSR Investigates, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Shade Room's YouTube channel.
All right, guys. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of questions have been arise. A lot of people are very, very skeptical about what really happened. And I think as we're starting to kind of see more stories, more, information come out, and, the separate autopsy, it's I think right now they're running an independent autopsy. And so it's getting tough, man. And I think there is some new stories that have been arising. Let me pull this up here so we can talk about this as well. This is from Fox 13 because we gotta bring it up, man. We got to do this, man. This is just how we do it at Elite Media, bro. We don't mess around, bro. We bring it up, we talk the real, and we have the receipts ready for y'all. So let's check this out.
There's still many questions about the death of a Mississippi college student. 21-year-old Trey Reed was found hanging from a tree in the middle of the campus of Delta State University Monday morning. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Daryl Green.
And I'm Darcy Thomas. Leaders at Delta State University talked with reporters, in fact, for a second time today. Last night, we told you Reed's family says that they want answers, but are not getting direct information from investigators. Fox 13's Martin Staunton has the latest from Cleveland, Mississippi.
Classes here were suspended Monday in the wake of Trey Reed's death, but they resumed on Tuesday. But investigators saying that there were no signs of foul play has triggered a wave of skepticism. I asked investigators what led them to make that statement so quickly after his body was found.
The statement was initially, at this point, we didn't believe or have evidence of foul play.
Delta State Police Chief Michael Peeler says the investigation continues. Reed's body is in the state crime lab for an autopsy. University President Dan Ennis addressed criticism from Reed's family. The school had not contacted them about his death.
Trey Reed gave us two names and the contact information for the people he wanted to be contacted in the event of an emergency. And we have maintained contact with those two people.
More than a dozen of Reed's family members were at the news conference. Afterwards, they gathered outside in a prayer circle.
All right, guys, this is facts. And so as you can see, kind of just the vibes, right? What's going on is, like I said, a lot of people are they're concerned. They don't know what's going on, and they're not getting the answers because this is what happens every single time. We get gaslit into thinking nothing's going on when it's obvious. Like I said, there is a history. There's an overall straight up approach to bury this story. And we're not going to allow them to do that, right? So shout out to the chat on Facebook, the chat going crazy. Salute to Cedric, man. Salute to my boy Eastside Day, man. Salute to my girl Finesse. She in the chat and she talking about she knew that they was going to do that. And I agree. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like we know what's happening, right? Like we know how they move. And so it's important, at least from my perspective, to be able to bring this hypocrisy up to the forefront, because a lot of times, man, people don't talk about this and they're not willing to. And so with my platforms, we're going to do this. We're going to make sure that we're speaking on this because this needs to be put out there. Salute to Cedric. He said, white on white crime black universities threatened. Right, that part, bro. And so we see that too many times, man, where people are just, they take out their frustrations and how they feel on black people. And so now we sitting here, a couple of days removed from this situation, and bro, this is scary, man. Like, because imagine if you had your child there. Imagine if you're living in Mississippi. You feel me? There's something going on over there, man. And this wasn't the only one. I want to bring up this story right here where it was a second person who was found. And this is insane, bro. So look, let's bring this up so you guys can see this, because it wasn't just Trey. That's what I found out through my research. It wasn't just Trey. There was another man found as well. Okay? Check this out. Check this out, guys, because this is crazy too, man. I had no, real understanding of what was going on, but this is what's happening, man.
Hanging from trees in Mississippi on the same day. The two men, both found deceased, hanging from trees in Mississippi on the same day, Trey Reed and Corey Zucatis. There you see the photos of them.
All right, so you got Trey right there, and you got Corey Zucatis right next to him. Okay, these are two people, all right, who were found in the same state under the same situation. Okay, dark energy, guys. I'm telling you guys, there's something really dark going on, bro. I don't know exactly, but that's why I had to make sure that I help you guys understand that the dark energy is among us and is going to be able to try to divert us from spreading the truth. So don't be fooled by what's going on in the BS, man. Pay attention, stay awake, bro, because it's getting crazy out here, man. Real talk. Two young people, all right?
Them, the victims. Here's what we know, folks. The initial tragedy hit at Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi. About 7:05 a.m., campus police found the body of 21-year-old university student Demartravion Trey Reed hanging from a tree by the pickleball courts. The report confirmed by University Police Chief Michael L. Peeler in a press conference, stating no evidence of foul play had been discovered to this point. The body of Reed was turned over to the Bolivar County Coroner's Office, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, and other authorities to aid in the investigation.
All right. So like I said, there's a huge push for them to make this go away and make this seem like there's no foul play, that there's nothing going on here, nothing to see. Go on, don't worry about it. There's a big push for that right now. And right out the gate, like I said, this hasn't even been a full week since this happened, and they've already ruled it out. They've already made their conclusion. They've already closed the case. Open and shut case, guys. Nothing to see here. And that is why we are so suspicious. That's going to make us so much more suspicious if you are not telling us what's going on, and then immediately you're telling us that this is not happening. Nothing's going on, guys. It's over. Yeah, right.
Hours later, again, now another victim recovered off Vicksburg Casino, the trail there. Hours earlier, 1:30 p.m., police in Vicksburg received an alarming telephone call. The body of a male discovered hanging from a tree in a densely forested area off of the Amistar Casino. The coroner identified the deceased as Brandon White, male, Corey Zucatis, 36. Zucatis, homeless, his death confirmed by Warren County Coroner Doug L. Husky, who said Zucatis had been discovered about 10:30 a.m., but released no further information.
All right, guys. So look, this guy was homeless, you know what I mean? And he was also found. So like I said, man, the history is there. The writing is on the wall, right? We know that this happens frequently here. We understand the extensive history of this place and how they get down. And so we're not supposed to be concerned about this. We're not supposed to pay attention to what's going on. Nah, man. I ain't buying it, y'all. I am not buying it at all. There is something sinister, something very dark going on, and there is an incentive for a lot of people to not talk about it, right? So, for my perspective, nah, man, we gonna keep talking about this because ain't no way that these could be going on and nothing occurs. No one's talking about it. Oh, okay, nothing to see here, no foul play, but they're found like what? Like who even made the news? Like they made the news for themselves? Like I need to understand like how does this not like make sense? Like and so that's my thing is like there's something sinister here, something really weird that they would immediately rule this out. They would not allow anybody to even have a thought of this being a racial issue, but like the history of this specific way of death is 100% associated to how this person passed away and the state that they are in and how this happened. It's ridiculous, man. I don't know what to say because it just gets worse, right? Just gets worse. So with this one, I was okay with not being the first. I'm cool with allowing more details to come out as they will. But now I wanted to talk about these 3 cops killed in Pennsylvania, right? And now initially this story there was an initial story about this having something to do with trafficking of drugs and something else, but in reality the details finally came out and we're going to talk about it because guess who it was? The usual suspects. I know that you guys don't like when I talk about this, but guess what? On Elite Media, we hold everyone accountable, whether you are black, white, whoever. But I've just noticed, this is what I've noticed, guys. I've noticed that when I talk about white men and what white men got going on and what they're doing, because I've been on this internet a long time, guys, and for a long time, I have listened to white dudes on this internet talk about black men, talk about the community of black men, talk about the hood, what we need to be doing, how we need to be doing it. And then I come along and I just want to talk about what you guys do. I want to keep it, keep it fair. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep it fair around this bitch. And I've been getting a lot of comments, man, talking about stay in your lane. Don't talk about us. Talk about you. No, there's plenty of people talking about us, right? There's plenty of black creators who are talking down on black people. Nah. I think with my platform, I think I'm going to talk about y'all. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I think the algorithm is telling me to. You want to know why? Guess what has the most views? Guess what has the most engagement? When I talk about y'all. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So guess what? We're going to keep our foot on y'all neck. And we ain't stopping. We're going to keep talking about y'all. And we're going to keep talking about what's been happening because we have receipts. The receipts are right here. So let's talk about it. 3 policemen in Pennsylvania were killed in a shootout. Let's hear the details.
This morning, several agencies investigating the deadly shootout that rocked this rural Pennsylvania town, leaving 3 law enforcement officers dead and 2 critically injured.
There are simply no words that I can offer to assuage the grief that this community has experienced.
Count of officers down, please. We have 1 officer down.
Authorities say the incident unfolded around 2 in the afternoon as officers arrived to serve a warrant in North Cadorus Township, about 2 hours west of Philadelphia. When
all right, I mean, you see what that look like in the back, bro. That look like a little farmland, don't it? That looking a little farmy, don't it? Looking a little rural, right? Yeah, I wonder.
Suddenly, shots rang out.
We're gonna have another officer that's gonna be ground transport.
Another officer.
Emergency crews racing to the scene to tend to the victims. 2 officers.
Where's the National Guard? Where is the National Guard? No National Guard when 3 police officers just got killed.
Transported to the hospital. 1 seen here, transported by medevac.
This is an absolutely tragic and devastating day for York County and for the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Nearby schools and residents told to shelter in place. Dave Miller lives right across the street.
I heard gunshots
Wonder what he represents.
within a few minutes, and I saw an officer go down on the road.
The gunman then shot and killed by police.
Witnesses.
The investigation is ongoing, but authorities saying there is no longer a threat to the public. Overnight, a solemn procession through the streets of York County, honoring the fallen officers. First responders and residents lining up to pay their respects.
This kind of violence isn't okay. We need to do better as a society.
Well, the 2 injured officers are in critical but stable condition this morning, George, and they remain at the hospital.
Okay, Mola, thank you.
All right, guys. Now notice, I want you guys to notice this, how no details are given, right? As soon as they knew who anybody was, they will put them out. Those details will be out immediately. But we know why they're not going to release them details, huh? We know why. We know why, don't we, guys? We know why. Come on now. This is just it's becoming clockwork at this point, you know? And look, we know who did this. We know who did this. I mean, what are we gonna play these games? What are we gonna do? Lie? You know what I'm saying? Try to make it seem like it's something that it's not. I mean, I'm just saying, y'all, because listen, man, I wanted to bring up this last. Well, first of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the press conference here, and then we're gonna talk about this real quick because this is something we gotta bring in it.
The community here in York County this afternoon. The incident occurred in Caduras Township, York County. I'd like to preemptively say that there are many details which at this point we are not prepared to release given the ongoing nature of the investigation.
All right, so understand, right? Most times, if they got it, they already knew what was going on. They're going to put it out there, right? And we know if it's a black dude or if it's a Hispanic dude or anybody who ain't of that, you feel me? That's going to be out there. It's going to be out there. The mugshot's going to be plastered across America, right? They're going to be talking about this guy. They're going to be demonizing him. This is an imminent threat. Someone just killed 3 police officers and 2 are in critical condition, and they are not releasing details about this. Listen, man, you guys gotta wake up. You gotta listen to what they say, okay? 3 police officers have already been killed. 2 are in critical condition, and they will not release details yet. Listen to this.
That having been said, we would like to advise the community that there is no current active threat. The situation today involved law enforcement officers who were shot. I can confirm that the shooter is dead. I can confirm that there were 5 law enforcement officers who were shot today.
Listen, man, that is terrible. That is terrible. That's scary, right? But to say that there's no imminent threat when this is happening all over the country, it's happening everywhere, guys. Wake up. Like I said, I dropped a video a couple days ago I think this was on Tuesday, all right? I dropped a video, right? I want to read the title of the video just so y'all can understand what's going on. The video is titled, "What White America Has a Crisis Happening with Young White men. Y'all go watch it. I'm gonna link it in the description of this video once it, uploads and all that. But listen to me, man. There's something going on, and there's no point in us to ignore this. On Elite Media, we're going to continue to bring this to the forefront and talk about these stories, because I'm telling you, if you ignore it, if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to get, something might happen to you. All right, so keep your head on a swivel.
That were transported here to Wellspan in York. They are currently listed in critical but stable condition. The District Attorney of York County, who is no stranger to this community, or in collaborating with the Pennsylvania State Police, Tim Barker. I've spoken to him. The Pennsylvania State Police has been asked to convene a major case team to conduct the lead in this investigation with the assistance and in collaboration and in partnership with the York County District Attorney. I can assure you that all of the resources of the Pennsylvania State Police are being brought to bear. There is still very much an active scene at Caduras Township, York County. Later this evening, the district attorney will have more information to release. I can tell you that the Pennsylvania State Police have taken over calls for service for the Northern York Regional Police Department, and we will continue to do so to support our partners. I can tell you that I've spoken to.
Listen, man, this is what happens, guys. Like, no details. They're not telling us anything.
The
It's just
special agent
mumbo
in charge of
jumbo.
the FBI out of Philadelphia 25. I'd just like to say on a very personal note, our hearts and prayers, and we will not rest until we've conducted a full, fair, competent, and thorough investigation into this matter. Lastly, I would simply ask to the community here in our hearts and prayers.
Safe in the line were gathered here today who ran here because they knew that their
community. We're here when you need us, and we enjoy the support of both the local governments.
So they were there to follow up on an investigation.
All right, here we go.
Brief, the media. Sir.
The circumstances surrounding while these officers were there was they were serving a warrant of some sort of PFA?
So they were there to follow up on an investigation that began yesterday. The general heading of that investigation, I would say, would be domestic related. But beyond that, the facts and circumstances, we have more information, but pending the search warrants that we're currently typing up and serving, we want to hold that information any more specificity.
All right, so he said that it was a domestic situation, meaning that there was something going on in the home between, the assailant and maybe his wife or girlfriend, husband, I don't know. But at the end of the day, that goes on, and then these guys come back the next day to serve a warrant. Basically, I'm assuming they confirmed what they needed to confirm, go over there, and then this dude just dumps on them, shoots 5 of them, kills 3. 2 in critical condition. Insanity, man. What the
No, I did
hell?
not. So
is
we're going to at this
going
point
on?
say that the 5 law enforcement officers in York County, and we're going to leave it there. And I'm going to defer to the district attorney, Tim Barker.
I just want to be clear. So there were 5 law enforcement shot, 3 of them killed, 2 in critical here in this hospital, but then the shooter was also killed.
Correct. Those numbers are correct, sir.
Okay, so the shooter as well.
At this
taken
point,
out.
we believe that the community is safe, but we're leaving no stone unturned, and we're going to run every lead down.
Listen, guys, this is where we're at. Like I said, we are in a very peculiar situation. And I wanted to bring up one last thing that's going to bring this whole stuff together, right? It's going to bring it all home, right? And this was a big story yesterday. I feel like it just kind of flew under the radar, but a real one is always going to bring it to the table to make sure that you guys can have it stamped on the Elite Media side, where we're always going to continue to bring the truth and make sure that you guys understand what's really going on behind the veil. So this is the last part of this story that I want to bring up, and I'm going to bring it up right here so you guys can see this. The DOJ deletes a study showing that domestic terrorists are most often right-wing. All right, guys. This went right under the radar. No one was talking about this story right here. This is what I've been talking about since 2016. And we talked about this when I was with J-Rock on Sunday. And I'm so glad that this has happened because Trump is so freaking predictable, right? I talked about this in 2016. I told J-Rock this story, this study has been out here for the longest. This is a real story. This is a real study. And I told people, everyone thought I was tripping. And I told them in 2016, bro, that there is a study that showed that domestic terrorism was on the rise within the right wing. All those national militias and vigilante crews that were popping up, they were on Instagram, they were on YouTube, right? Yeah, some of them caught cases and they're not on there. They had to go underneath because they were doing too much, they were showing too much. But this was something that I've been talking about since 2016. All right. And so when this starts happening, when stuff like this starts happening, it's really telling you what's up. And that's why people was always like, hey, B, you know, why you training? What's going on, bro? What are you on, bro? You training like you a superhero, dog. Yeah, I'm getting prepared because I know what's coming. I'm not playing. I'm not playing with nobody, bro. Ain't no way that I'm going to get caught slipping because I know what's happening. This stuff right here is happening right under people's radar. And they're not paying attention. I'm not going to let that happen. I refuse to let that happen to me or anybody I'm around. I'm going to be ready. That's why I was taking martial arts training. That's why I was taking jiu-jitsu. That's why I was going out of my way to make sure that I was educating myself on weapons training and what happens if this happens, evasive maneuvers, how to pay attention in rooms, being careful, all right? Not making myself easily accessible to people that I don't know. No. I know what's going on. I've seen it since 2016, guys. I've been talking about this. So, yeah, I wanted to end this stream with this right here because this is some real stuff right here. The DOJ deletes a study showing domestic terrorists are most often right wing. Okay, remember this. The Department of Justice has removed a study showing that white supremacists and far right violence continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism in the United States. Okay, this is not something that's very easy to digest. And that's why I said there's a lot of dark energy surrounding our country right now. The sleeper cells are being awoken onto all of us. It ain't just me who's dealing with them. It ain't just you. It's everyone around us. All of us are feeling this crap, man. And so, yeah, we got to definitely buckle up and get ready because we know what's happening, man. So, look, the study, which was conducted by the National Institute of Justice and hosted on a DOJ website available there for at least until September 12th of 2025. All right. So this has been there for a minute, man. And now they're taking it down because, like I said, the sleeper cells are awake. There's a lot of stuff happening right now that they cannot control. And so now I'm making sure that we at Elite Media will continue to create a space for all of us to talk, for us to keep it real, for the truth to be spread across this entire internet space. You feel me? We finally are in our groove. We found our lane. We are not letting up. All right. I'm going to come back with some crazy videos. I got some stuff I'm working on, man, that y'all, I'm telling you, you're going to love it. We're working on really dope stuff over here. So give me some time. Let me make sure everything's set up proper. Because if we're going to do this, it got to be proper. It can't just be we just throwing everything out there and hope it sticks. We can't do that over here because the level that we're trying to reach, everything has to be proper. And so, yeah, that's how I'm moving with this shit. And so, yeah, appreciate everybody who's coming through. Make sure to like the videos. Make sure to subscribe. We appreciate all the love and the responses that we're getting, the people sending us, you know, so many different stories to talk about. We appreciate that. That keeps us motivated and it keeps us excited to keep doing this shit, man. Because right now, Media is being controlled and manipulated. All right. The media as we know it is over. All right. So for us, we got to create that here. We got to definitely change that narrative right here. So salute to y'all, man. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, man. My name is Brandon B. This is Elite Media, bro. And I'm out. Peace.